Hey. This one's probably the hardest past version of me that I know I need to share. And it's addiction, a form of addiction. And it was over 20 years that I overcame it. And it wasn't spoken about, it wasn't known, there wasn't the help then that there is now, because it wasn't your typical addiction of drugs and alcohol. I don't even know what it is, there's probably a name for it, but I stole so much money from people. From probably the age of about 15 to just before my dad passed away, it had complete and utter control of my life. And I hurt so many people that I loved and cared about, friends, family, and it just completely took over. And it was, and I think it's only recently that I realised I didn't even when I'd overcome it, I still didn't fully understand why it was there, why I did the things, why did I have to steal from them, why did I have to be that version of me. And it was only when my awakening was happening last year, I could understand, and I had so many messages saying that my life, it's been for a reason. Everything that I've experienced in my life, I chose it to be that way, because I am meant to be a living proof for others and a testimony to others that you can come from the most normal background and have most loving parents, and you can have all the love and everything, that we still have demons within us. And I know that all the major past versions I've been of me, that one I understood the other ones. I understood why and how that could help others. But this one, I could not get my head around. Why on earth would I want to come to earth and steal from people I loved and cared about? I just couldn't get it. And I had to let it be, and I left it, and I got on with my day. And then it's just, and I hear things, and it just came to me. It was a form of addiction. And I stood and I remembered my mum and dad taking me to the doctors and saying she needs help. She can't, she's so, the guilt that she has after was just horrendous. But it was like I couldn't stop. And I remember them saying that there wasn't really much help out there at the time for that. Whereas now, obviously, there's many addictions that are out there. But I couldn't, and it consumed me. And when I really thought about it, I thought, my God, yeah, whatever it was. And I think now I know. And I don't really fully understand when it changed and where it changed, but I never felt I fully, truly fit in. And all I wanted to do was fit in and be liked and be accepted. And we didn't. We came, my mum and dad worked really hard, but we didn't. Money wasn't easy. And they worked really hard, and we didn't have, I was so lucky I got to do dancing, and it was so expensive. But the people that I was friends with, had all these things, and I just wanted to fit in and be the same as them. And please don't think that I'm condoning it, because I'm not. I'm just simply sharing. my experience, because it went on for such a long time, and there was something I'd want, whatever it was, to my hair, whatever it was, I can't fully, but in the moment I would want something, and it was literally like there was everything else disappeared. I had to get the money for it. It didn't matter who I was going to hurt. It didn't even come into my mind. It was just that I had to get, it was like, you had to get that fix. I had to get that thing, whatever it was, because it was going to make me feel good. It was going to make me feel better. I would do it. I'd get the thing or do the thing, whatever it was. And then afterwards, the come down from that was just complete and utter shame, guilt. I absolutely hated myself. But it escalated, and it just went on, and it affected so many people. I do remember, I think it was I was 19, and no, I was 18. And I left home, I ran away from home. And my poor mum and dad didn't know where I was for like 3 months. I couldn't cope with the disappointment and the shame that I had, and the way that they looked at me, and rightly so. I was making life so hard for them, and I just couldn't stop. Then I ran away, and I was living in a shelter, and I got in with, and I fell pregnant, and I remember just feeling so happy that I got to have this little baby that I could love and adore, and that would love me without all the shame and guilt, that just knew me as their mummy, not this person that was just so selfish and hurt so many people. And eventually I ended up going home, but I was just so happy, and my mum and dad opened arms, and were just so relieved, and were so happy to have me home. They didn't care that I was pregnant. They were just so happy that I was safe, and they forgave me for all the shit and all the stuff that I'd done to them all to make life so fucking tough. And then I know I had taken money from and stolen from a previous boyfriend from a while ago, and I was arrested. And I remember sitting in the cell and just, oh my God, what have I done? And I ended up going to court, and I had to do community service, but still then, it didn't stop me. I continued, and I had my beautiful baby, and I felt like I'd over it, and it was okay. And then I just wanted to be, I wanted to be accepted. I wanted to be seen that I had it together, and I didn't. And then I met someone who I was with for 17 years, and he was amazing. He took my daughter on as if, he was happy the relationship with my daughter's dad, it wasn't there, it wasn't. I tried to keep in communication so he could see her, but that, it was what it was. I tried, and it got to a point where it was just, it was not great. And I just said, you need to take him to court. I can't do this anymore. He just wouldn't turn up. He would flake out. Then he was calling my mum's house at ridiculous times of the morning. Just, very toxic, and but he wasn't in the picture, and she didn't, and he obviously was becoming to be a big part of my life, and he took her on as his own, and we decided that, and that was lovely. But I took from his mum, and I remember his mum and dad called my mum and dad and were like, you need to get help for her, something's not right. And I know at the time, and I will delve into that, but things were going on within the relationship, and I know my mum had to really bite her tongue. because she knew he was doing things to me, and yeah. But I think it really came to a head. It was when, I think it was just before my dad got really poorly. He had cancer, and I just didn't want to be that person anymore. I didn't want to be that person. I didn't want my dad dying and seeing that I hadn't changed, when all I wanted to do was prove to him that that I love him so deeply, that I was so sorry for how shitty and how hard I made life for them with how I did. And I remember I had to pay that back, and I remember working at McDonald's, and I had to pay all the money back. And I'm so pleased that I had to do that. You know, I learned so much, and I know throughout that, my mum spoke obviously openly to my aunties and the family of what I was doing. And I remember at the time feeling so upset and hurt that she was talking about it, but I am so grateful she did, because I had to own what I did. She didn't hide it under the carpet. It wasn't brushed under the carpet. I had to face it head on, and I did. And it took so long for me to build trust with others, for my mum to trust me, for others to trust me. And it's hard because another member of the family had their own issues, and things would happen, and you know, straight away, well, first person you'd look for is the person that's done all of that. And that was really hard, but it was just, that's part and parcel of recovery from that, and learning that that's what's going to happen, and just continuously moving forward and showing and proving to them that you aren't that person anymore. And I think I did that, and I was really proud, and it took over 10 years to overcome that, but I did. And I'm simply sharing that because it was a form of addiction. And yes, it's not the same as drug, but it's an addiction. And it took me a long time to get over it. But I did get to a point in my life where I looked in, I hated myself. I couldn't be this person anymore. I didn't want to be a disappointment. I didn't want my family to be ashamed of me. All I wanted was them to be accepted, and for me to be the person that I was screaming that I knew I was. That wasn't me. That it didn't feel like that was me. Because inside, all I wanted was just to please. I just wanted everyone to be happy. I just wanted to be accepted. Yeah. I know I need to share that, because whoever is going through some form of addiction, whatever it is, the only person that can truly get you out of that and to stop you from, and to do the inner work, is you. It doesn't matter how much people around you are telling you and doing this and helping you and trying to get you into rehab and whatnot and trying to do, until you are ready to truly face it and just get to the why you feel that way and why you are doing those things. Why do you need that to survive? Why are you doing that to those people that you love and yourself? And it's just, you just have to get to that point where you no longer want to be that version of you anymore, and you're willing to do the inner work and work on yourself, because I'm living proof that you can do it. It took me a long time, but I did it, and I gained people's trust, and that is the most rewarding thing that you can experience from an addiction, is to truly see people trust you again. And that's why trust has been such a huge big part of my life, and where I've struggled so much with trust in every area of my life. But will say that if your soul clearly chose for you to have that experience, for you to go through addiction. It wouldn't have chosen for you to experience that if it didn't believe that you could overcome it, because there's a lesson there for you. Even if you can't see that lesson and understand it right now, there's a lesson to be taught, and you recovering and you being able to be that strong, powerful person that you truly are, in time, your journey and your experiencing through that, you sharing it with someone can change their life. It could help them through their form of addiction. It's just so powerful. And I know that the shame and guilt that I've carried with me through that past version of me, I have only recently been able to allow it. I've forgiven myself for everyone I have hurt, and that's had an impact on, because I know that every experience that we choose to have, we have soul contracts with everyone. And for whatever reason, those people that I had those experiences with through that version of me, their soul chose to have that experience with me for whatever lesson they had to have through that experience with me. And for me, that's really all the guilt and shame that I've had for myself has been able to dissolve. And I know there'll be a lot of people that will say, well, once, leopards never change their spots. Well, I'm living proof that they can, because I can't even comprehend that past version of me, because that's not me. It was just an experience and a life, and I know it impacted many, but they chose to have that experience with me. And when you can really get your head around that shame and that guilt and all those negative energies that you've had surrounding that version of you, you can allow it to dissolve, because that is not who you are now. You overcame that. You overcame that addiction and that past version of you. And whereas I had so much shame and hatred for that version, I have love for her and gratitude, because it was another way, it was another part of me to become who I am today. It was a part of my darkness, and it was a demon that I know I had to slay, and I did. And when I look at my life, I see so clearly. Like, I look at my family, and every single, most of the experiences, like the big experiences in my life, like that past version and others that I will share with you, I look at my family, my aunts, uncles, and everyone, and everything that I've experienced is what's going on with all of them in one way, shape, or form. And I know so deeply that my soul chose to be the one to come here to break those generational curses, to break that chain and that cycle of fraud, deceit, money, problems, betrayal. Oh my God, honestly, being unfaithful, and addiction. Honestly, I see it so clearly. And I'm not here judging them, because that's their journey. But I know that I'm here to overcome them and to break those chains, because I do not want my children and their children to continue the cycle. Because from that, my money has been, I've had a terrible relationship. Yes, I no longer stole, and I didn't do anything like that. I just wasn't good with money. I'd get money and I'd spend it on ridiculous things. And again, I think last year really was a huge part of me mending my relationship and healing my relationship with money. And I will delve more into that. There's so much, and that's when I really have to step back and I look and I think. And when you're in it and it's your life and you're having to move, you have to, because constantly life's lifing. You've got your children, and there's a lot of the time that you can't sit and reminisce and go through everything. But this is where my awakening has forced me in to healing, because I should have done that healing years ago, because it has completely and utterly taken control of my life. It has ruled me in every way. The experiences and past versions I've been of myself, I've not dealt with them. I've stuffed it down because I couldn't deal with it. Life was lifing and I had to keep going and I had to keep moving forward, and I didn't have time for that. And I finally last year had to face that, and it's been and continue to, like, I know the last 2.5 months have been amazing, but really so much purging and so much has been coming up that I haven't truly fully let go of. And that's good, because I've had to. You have to let those things come up and you have to face them head on, because keep stuffing them down, they're going to keep up. It's going to keep going until you fully get to that point where you stand there and face it, because you have to. It's coming up for a reason. And the healing work can be long, and you're human and your ego constantly wanting to get to the finish line. But through this, it's not about the end game. It's about the journey, and it's about really fully healing internally. And it's no way easy. But if someone was to say, would I choose this life, or would I choose another easy life that just plods along, doesn't awaken, and just stays, having everything easy? With how I feel now and the passion and the pull for life that I have, and I know I have to share my voice. I know I have to share me, and I might not know all the ways, but right now this is the thing that is pulling me, and that all the fear and that side of it that my ego and human are telling me that I shouldn't be sharing it because I'm going to get so much chucked at me for who I was. I know so deeply my passion and pull to help others and to share me, if that could help even just one person, I just couldn't not. I know that I have to do it. I have to share me. I have to share the good, the bad, the ugly. Whether or not people are going to judge me and hate me for it and put shame on me, I've got to the point where that's not me. It was just experiences that got me to where I am now, to who I am now. And the resentment and the guilt and the shame is just being released from me. And I can't tell you how powerful that is. And to actually finally, for the first time in my life, be in control of my own life. Not being dependent or codependent on anyone else, seeking and needing anything from anyone else. Because I'm finally choosing me. I'm finally loving myself and pouring that love into myself. And not only will that impact me, but it will impact my children and everyone around me, because that's how energy works. Whether or not they're ready to fully do that, I know that I can no longer dim myself. I can no longer lower myself, but just live in those negative energies anymore, because it's just not me. That version of me isn't here anymore. The version that was so codependent and needing of everyone else and didn't trust my own intuition, didn't trust anything about me, and I had so much hatred. That's not me anymore. And it's so freeing and liberating. And it is hard to get over addiction. But I promise you, you will get to that point where you just can't be that version of you anymore, and that you need help, you want help. Don't be afraid to reach out and ask for help, because there is so much help out there. And there'll be so many people that would be so proud of you for taking the steps, healing yourself and overcoming it. And you will feel like a fucking warrior afterwards, I assure you. So, yeah. I hope that that will help, even if it's just one person going through that right now. Trust, I'm living proof that you can overcome addiction. You can, but you have got to be prepared to do the inner work. You have got to be the one to face it head on. No one else can do it for you. Yes, there's people that will help support you along your journey and be there to help you through it, but ultimately it is down to you to want to do the inner shadow work, to want to get to the reason why you have got to that addiction, what it is that you can't face, and that you are using that to survive. I hope you're all having a really lovely day, and I'll be sharing a lot more.